Hey everyone, I'm Greg Jones, editor of Engine Builder.
And I'm Brendan Baker, technical editor of Engine Builder.
Welcome to Intellectual Horsepower, our new video podcast where we'll be updating you on all the latest ongoings in the racing and performance industry. And there's certainly been a number of shakeups in racing recently, but we want to kick off today's episode with a topic from a couple weeks ago, but one that we believe is pretty important and one we wanted to put some more thought behind, and that is Michael Jordan joining NASCAR as a majority owner, along with Denny Hamlin as a minority owner and Bubba Wallace as the driver. I certainly think this is a great thing for NASCAR to have Jordan involved. Brendan, what do you say?
Yeah, I think Michael Jordan has said the timing is right. These guys have been friends for a little while. I guess Jordan and Denny Hamlin is Michael Jordan brand athlete, like he's sponsored by the Jordan brand, right. Has been for a while, but they were friends back in like 2009, just started talking at a basketball game. And so apparently Jordan has been calling up Denny every couple of weeks to wish him good luck or tell him, that was a good race, or to tell him why didn't you move that guy out of the way?
Right.
Stuff like that. His
Jordan
gets
side.
into it. His competitive stuff is
Yeah.
into it. So he's a NASCAR fan, which I didn't know he was a NASCAR fan, but he was born in North Carolina. He was around it, and he said his dad took him to races and stuff. So I grew up around Brad Daugherty, and the Cavaliers, who. And Larry Nance, they were both big racing fans. Larry Nance was NASCAR or NHRA team owner, and Brad Daugherty's a NASCAR team part owner of a NASCAR team. So they've been involved for sure. But someone like Michael Jordan, that's beyond
and that's what I was going to say is that it's great that Jordan is into racing, and he's got Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace, who he's kind of had in his corner and kept ties with. But more so, I think it's a big win for NASCAR. You look at what they've been experiencing as a racing sanctioning body the last few years, having to kind of combat those low attendance numbers and, low ratings on TV, having to, redo some racing with the stage format. And I think bringing a name like Jordan in is only going to help. It's further diversifies what they got going on. He's the biggest name in sports.
It's a coup for NASCAR for sure.
Yeah,
they did. I don't think they expected it. I don't know if Denny had. It just seemed the timing was right, and with the whole racism, Black Lives Matter stuff going on, and NASCAR really taking the stand that they have against, standing up for Bubba Wallace like they have. They really stood behind him, as well as all the drivers.
You got to give NASCAR credit.
Yeah, I think they've done the right thing. NASCAR,
the Confederate flag stuff, what they've done with Bubba Wallace.
They're going to tick off a few people, of course. There's a lot of people, not a lot, but there are people in the South that don't agree with some of that stuff. But you know what? If they want to leave, they can leave. If they want to get on board, they can. I think the racing is going to be good, and it looks like NASCAR's righting the ship. In my opinion, they're going in the right direction.
I agree with you. I think
I'd like to see more technical things change about it, but that'll be for another time.
Right.
But yeah.
No, I think we both agree this is a win for NASCAR, and it should be exciting for Jordan and what he wants to accomplish.
Everyone's going to tune in. That's the thing with Jordan involved and the whole thing. Everyone's going to be watching especially the first couple of races. Bubba Wallace in there, and Bubba is a good driver, just hasn't been with the best team in the Cup Series. He's done well in other series, so he will do well. He needs a good team behind him. And Richard Petty, to their credit, I think that they were looking to build behind. They know what kind of a star they have in Bubba Wallace and the kind of attention he'll get from sponsors and things like that. And if they have that, they can build the team. However, I think this is a good move for Bubba Wallace.
Absolutely. Well, we'll certainly be looking forward to Jordan and that new team next year. And speaking of NASCAR's 2021 season, they recently announced their 2021 schedule, and there's a number of changes there and a number of exciting things going on with some new races. Brendan, you want to kick us off with a little bit about that?
I mean, I'm a road racer. I think that's no secret in my engine builder stories. That I like road racing, and I grew up road racing. I did do some oval race, but I love road racing, and I think NASCAR on a road course is exciting to watch because those cars are sliding around. It's what road course racing was back in the 60s kind of thing. Because those cars, well, they're still kind of 60s technology in my opinion, but there's no downforce on them, very little. They slide around. They're heavy, heavy cars with a lot of power and under-tired, and that makes for exciting races to watch because the good drivers always rise to the top, and the smooth drivers, the guys that know how to do it. Denny Hamlin, he's one of them for sure.
Yeah. So here are the changes that we're talking about. Like most years, the Daytona 500's kicking off the season, and the Coke Zero Sugar 400 will be the final race of the regular season. But NASCAR is introducing 3 new tracks, expanding to 6 road courses, and putting a dirt track race on the calendar for the first time in 50 years.
Well, the Circuit of the Americas will be interesting for one. That one's in May, so it'll be right around the time of Indy, and I guarantee that's going to get a lot of eyeballs. I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch. I mean, it'll make that Memorial Day weekend that much better when you have Indy. You've got, the Circuit of the Cup cars on Circuit of the Americas track, and you got Monaco Grand Prix that weekend. I mean,
Well, and I think the dirt track race is something new. It's something that
it's been in
NASCAR says
while.
They haven't done it in 50 years.
No.
1970 was the last time they did it, and Richard Petty won that race.
Well, at the Cup Series level, because they've been running at Eldora for a little while now in the Xfinity Series, and that's gone really well. So because of that, they've kind of gained the knowledge, and they see that everybody likes watching those cars under. Again, it just makes it the diversity of the series now with the dirt track, with the more road courses, removing. They have cut some of a couple tracks that aren't that exciting. I didn't think Kentucky was that bad, but again, that one just kind of fell out of favor. Chicagoland was bad. It's a boring track. Sorry, Chicago, but it's those kind of cookie cutter tracks that they had in NASCAR's day. They fit a certain kind of car, and now the racing's just not exciting at those tracks.
Right. People want to see some different stuff, and NASCAR's own Steve O'Donnell, who's executive vice president and chief racing development officer, said that the 2021 schedule had one primary goal, and that was to continue to take steps to create the most dynamic schedule possible for fans. And I think this takes a big step in that direction. They
definitely took a big swing at it, and I think if they didn't hit a home run, they at least hit a triple. But
well, there you go. We'll be looking forward to watching that next year.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, sticking with some racing, we're going to move on to Formula One, and they have a new CEO coming into place for next year. And Brendan, I'll let you kick this topic off.
So Stefano Domenicali, that's a hard name to say, and I'm not Italian.
Sorry
if
we messed that one up.
So if it was like an Irish name, I'd have it. But anyway, he was the team principal for Ferrari up until he quit in 2014, but he was with Ferrari for many, many years and grew up in that organization. He knows it. He's been CEO now of Lamborghini since that time. He's also taken on some roles with the FIA single-seater commission. So he's remained involved with FIA, and people are familiar with him. The only thing about him, or that people have some trepidation about, is the fact that he's another Ferrari guy. You've got Jean Todt is the the former team principal. He was the guy before Domenicali in that role. So they've had a lot of Ferrari influence in there.
Sure,
but,
sure.
Ferrari is what it is. It's the juggernaut of Formula One. I mean, if Ferrari doesn't do well, nobody, it really hurts the series. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's hard to argue Domenicali's perspective and experience, and given his Ferrari background, his background with Lamborghini and Audi.
Yeah, he's got the technical chops to do it. Plus, the guy they had in before was just a media guy. This what's his name, Chase Carey. Yeah, that's right. He's got the big curly mustache and all. And he came from like 20th Century Fox or whatever. He's a media guy, which you need that. He's going to take a step back role. He's not going to be in charge of it. You need a racer and a Formula One guy up front like that. That's how Bernie Ecclestone was. And he ran that thing. I think the combination of a Chase Carey and a Domenicali running that together, no one's going to replace Bernie Ecclestone the way he was, but Bernie Ecclestone also ruled Formula One like a dictator,
Right.
I mean, he did a lot of good things, but also a lot of bad things.
Yeah. So overall, do you see Domenicali as
I think it's a good move.
A good or bad move?
I think it's a good move.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's better to see a racer in that role than a media guy or some those guys never work out.
All right. Well, a Formula One CEO is one thing, but some even bigger news in Formula One recently came from Honda. They announced that for 2021, after 2021, they're not going to be in Formula One as an engine partner.
Yeah.
Again, what does this mean for Formula One? And we can get into some reasons why Honda has kind of decided to move away.
I mean, it seems kind of crazy now that they chose now to do it when they're just on the cusp of winning it all,
Yeah, they've been doing good in recent years.
They've been doing well, but they haven't caught Mercedes, and they're probably not going to catch them next year either, because Mercedes in 2022 is the new rules, everyone starts over fresh, okay? So, the people that have had this technology, this hybrid engine stuff, they're riding it out. Like Ferrari, they're stuck with what they have, which isn't that good. Everyone's aiming for 22. Well, now, with Honda saying, well, we're pulling the plug, they may still win some races, but are they going to compete with Mercedes on that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that it's but what I have heard is that it was more focused on, it's always a lot of politics when it comes to Formula One.
Yeah, it's politics and money. And that's...
And they want to concentrate on the new IndyCar.
Right.
The new IndyCar engine that's coming up in, I think, 23.
Which we'll get to in just a second, actually. But, it's just Honda cited, the huge costs involved. And
irreconcilable differences. They got a divorce,
Yeah, but they also want to push... the future of their road car business towards carbon neutral. And
but you could argue that with the hybrid technology, they're already doing that. They've taken a unique approach to hybrid, to the hybrid Formula One engine, and it's paying off now, or it's starting to. But they still don't have the power that Mercedes. They can't keep up with Mercedes. Mercedes nailed it from the beginning, and they've been coasting on it ever since. Really. Yeah. I wouldn't say coasting, but they've taken full advantage of it. No one's been able to really close the gap.
So with Honda leaving, does someone come in to replace them, or do the other engine manufacturers kind of fill in the gaps?
By rule, they want the manufacturer that is there with the least amount of supplier teams, has to take the team that doesn't have an engine supplier. So that would be Renault, who they left under, bad, they had some bad PR, they were both bad mouthing each other, and they hated, so I don't see that really working out. It kind of seems like if they can't talk Mercedes into supplying them, which they probably won't, or Ferrari, which I don't see that happening either.
Yeah.
And why would they go to Ferrari?
What was the Netflix documentary? Drive to Survive.
Yeah, Drive to Survive. Yeah.
If you guys are looking for a good Netflix watch, there's a couple seasons of Drive to Survive.
That gives you the inside look of Formula One, which
if you're not familiar, it's a good place to start.
Yeah. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes on behind the scenes. It's hard to see as a fan on the outside just watching it. But, I know that our audience, they know this stuff, that it's, you have to really follow behind the scenes stuff as much as the stuff on the track.
Well, it'll be interesting to see past 2021 what goes on with Formula One. But sticking with open wheel racing, Brendan hinted to it a second ago, but IndyCar has reached a multi-year extension with a couple engine partners, namely Honda and Chevrolet, to take their partnership well into the end of the decade. Brendan, you want to?
Yeah, I think they've got like a 5-year deal, I believe, and really it's Chevrolet and Honda now. At one point, Lotus was in there, which I don't, they dropped out pretty early on. They were, they want to get another engine supplier in there, but I think until, again, they're sort of like Formula One. They're not going to get anybody new in this kind of format right now. The new car comes out in 23. The new car will have a new engine.
It's a 2.4-liter twin-turbo V6 with hybrid technology. And like Brendan just mentioned, it's delayed till 2023 because of some COVID. And
I'm a little bit iffy about why they chose a 2.4-liter. They're currently a 2.2-liter V6.
Yep.
I thought the 2.4, they might go with a 4-cylinder, like a twin-turbo 4 with hybrid technology. I think that would have been interesting, but,
They do say it's 100 horsepower more. It brings it up to 900 horsepower.
It will be because of the battery pack, I think, is going to have. So they're going to instead, which I think will be cool to add. You're going to see a lot more hybrid vehicles on the road, and hybrid technology is going to be more commonplace, way more so than probably the full electric stuff. So I think it's a smart move. It's an expensive move, though. I mean, that is, ask Formula One. They spent so much money on those engines. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping that, the difference with IndyCar is everyone's going to have the same battery pack. They're not going to have, although I don't know if each engine manufacturer gets to develop their own or if they have that part I'm not 100% sure on, but, it'll be a lot more competitive.
Yeah, we'll certainly see how that plays out. IndyCar's president, Jay Fry, said, "Fast, loud, and authentic, along with a history of innovation. That's our racing roots, and will continue to be the sport's legacy." And I think it just shows a shift toward that hybrid technology that will allow more OEMs to get involved in the future. 900
horsepower puts them a lot more on par of where they were back in the day, and kind of more on par with Formula One, which is rumored to be around 1,000 horsepower or more. They're a lot lighter cars, but Formula One cars are getting a lot bigger too. So yeah, it'll be cool to see.
Right. All right. Well, next up, we're going to move away from racing and talk about stuff that's just been ongoing throughout this year. That is 2020.
Yeah.
And everything with COVID and the coronavirus. We've seen a number of trade shows get canceled throughout the year.
Pretty much all
of them. Even, I don't know if even 2021.
I think the Medina gun show is still on. I saw it in the paper that was still, I'm like, I don't know about that.
Let's just hope attendance is down.
Yeah, hopefully.
But, to name a few of the big ones, you got PRI, obviously, in our industry. You got SEMA, you got Apex. Most recently, the AIM Expo on the motorcycle side has postponed their 2021 show.
Yeah. They were in January, though, so that was almost a 20... Right. That was almost a 2020 show because they're right at that cusp, which, it's too bad because that kind of pushes AIM Expo into January of 22.
Right.
But hopefully everything will be good by then. I'm confident that things by the end of the year of 21 or whatever.
Everyone's got their own take on COVID and protocol and precautions. I don't see how any of these shows could have possibly come out of this, having done a show and having
it would have been
pulled it off
spreader.
the right way. Even with any precaution you put in place, you're going to have lower attendance. You're going to have fewer exhibitors.
It's the indoor.
It's just going to be a bad look.
Yeah, the optics would be bad, even if they could do it. But I guess they could go to South Dakota and
you and I have gone to SEMA
but
for a number of years.
Yeah,
even with 1 million square feet in that
you're just breathing
center,
on people right and left.
You have nowhere to go.
No, yeah,
you're on top
elbow
of people.
To elbow.
There's 120,000+ people.
Yeah. It would just be a super spreader for sure.
So it's unfortunate, but it's what this year has come to, and you're starting to see a number of folks, SEMA and PRI included, who have done some, online live events to kind of replace what otherwise would have happened this year. And
I guess my hope is, and I know it's good that we can all do virtual Zoom and all that, but it's not the same as being there in person and doing it in person. And I just hope that we don't get to the point where it's like, well, we're just going to do every other year and do a Zoom meeting every other. I still think there's a lot to be said about being at these things in person, getting to really meet the people. And you can do it on Zoom, you can do it on email. A lot of people don't show up at some of these events because they think they can do it all from their computer, but I think you gain so much more by doing it in person. So.
And, obviously here at Engine Builder and Babcock's Media, we offer those solutions as well. And that's something people can keep in mind. We're doing a few of those things.
Yeah, we're gonna
to help fill the void.
Right.
Like you said, it's not the same, but it's the
at
substitute we got.
Yeah, it's what we got.
It's gonna be good.
And I think it could open up new avenues going forward for people that but we'll see.
Now, we talked earlier about the future technology with hybrid and electrification in these race cars. There's some big news recently out of California with the California governor signing an executive order to not have any gas-powered cars sold by 2035.
Basically, that means nothing, though, from what I've read.
It's a bold statement, and
it is a statement.
That's kind of what it is for now.
An executive order doesn't have any weight behind it. So it is a bold statement. I think that is what their wish is, to ban it. I mean, there's countries already that, are banning. London is already, they're banning stuff in downtown. It is happening around the world and in a lot of developed nations. But, in California, what the worry is, does California have the right to do it? And when California does it, they tend to shape the rest of the other 49 states. So.
And just to clarify, this is for all new cars and passenger trucks, sold in 2035 will be zero emissions. This doesn't really have any weight on, what race and performance vehicles.
I see a lot of between now and that we got 15 years of, you have to. I know where they're going and why they think it is necessary, but you also have to look at some of the things that are affected. Like you're already going to have a bunch of gasoline-powered cars on the roads anyway. I can see maybe not doing new cars, or you have to sell. I think because they're saying 8%. They're expecting to sell 8% zero, full electric vehicles by 2025. Yep. That's 8%. So in another 10 years to go from 8% to basically,
And they're saying that currently it's only 2% that are zero emissions.
The electric industry, they do need I think when the infrastructure gets built and every car maker is in on it, but I think the reality will prevail that you can't completely ban gas. Maybe in some of the major downtown metropolitan areas or something, like how they do in London, reduce some congestion or some of the smog and stuff. But it'll be hard because
like we said,
sell gas.
It's obviously an aggressive move, and there's going to be a lot of it's going to be an uphill battle. There's going to be a lot of
just
people fighting back against that, obviously, and I'll be curious to see over the years if other states join in. Obviously, we all know that this day is going to be coming at some point.
They could improve the gasoline engine enough to. I mean, it's never going to be zero emissions, but look how many strides we've made in 100 years to from what it was. So, absolutely. 15 years from now, there's still a lot of gains to be had I see more of the compromise deal as I see hybrid being a lot more of the direction for most of the rest of the country, or, I obviously on some of the coastlines and things like that, there's a lot more push to have battery electric. And if it works for your area, if you can get around, you have the infrastructure, why not? If we had the infrastructure, I wouldn't, but I still want my gas powered cars. I still want muscle. I still want.
Absolutely.
I like gas. I like the.
Well, and we've discussed it in other formats. With these predictions and talking about 15, 20, 30 years out, it's so hard to make those predictions, and only time will tell. But yeah, I think this will be
15 years from now. Who knows where everything's headed? But it is a target. I see that as just a kind of like what he's hoping is he puts it out there, and that other things will build around it, and they'll have a groundswell of support that will all of a sudden put in place all these policies. But it would be hard to do. Especially because California, to get anywhere, hell, you're stuck in traffic for so long. Your battery run out. There'll be dead Teslas all over the place.
That's probably half the reason they want it, too, with all these cars sitting there not moving.
Turn the engine off.
All right, well, we'll go back to racing for this next one. The NHRA recently filed a lawsuit against Coca-Cola after Coke pulled its sponsorship of the Mellow Yellow drag racing series that was contracted to go through 2023. The NHRA claims that Coca-Cola missed a $2.86 million payment in May this year. And the NHRA and
seems
Coke,
like chump change to me for Coca-Cola.
It certainly sounds like a low number for Coca-Cola.
That is not a big number. Their whole payout for the year was $5.72.
Right.
I mean, that's
so there's
over
more
half
to
of their
it.
payment.
There's more to it. I guess, they were kind of working together back in May when Coke said they couldn't, like everyone and their mom, they used COVID as the excuse and whatever else. But, now they ended up, pulling their whole contract 3 years early and kind of leaving NHRA out to dry. And I don't know if you can blame them.
What, 20 years or 18 years?
They've been with them since 2002. Coke has supported the NHRA with their Powerade brand as well as the Mellow Yellow brand. And it's surprising.
It's bad PR for Coke, in my opinion, but I'm sure people will still drink Coke. Well, what I've heard is that because all the restaurants closing, Coke makes all their money off those restaurant sales, all those big bulk sales.
I'm sure they're hurting just like everybody else.
But they're not hurting. They're a gazillion-dollar company. That
it's
$5 million is
different level.
It's like dropping you or me dropping a quarter. Me dropping a dollar. You dropping a quarter. No, wait, maybe the other way around. You're the big bucks guy.
Right. Well, NHRA President Glenn Cromwell was quoted saying that they've never had to file a lawsuit like this in their history. They never expected to be forced to take action against a longstanding partner such as Coke. But this year has done a lot of crazy things, and
it happens. I'm sure they didn't want to do it, but if they're going to bail out like that and leave you holding the bag, owing a couple million, what did they expect?
Sure,
they knew that. They're going to settle probably, but they're going to get out of it.
I just
think it's like taking your toys and running home, and it just sets a bad precedent.
With 3 years left on the contract, you can't just up and
deal's
walk
a deal
away.
Kind of thing. They could have done something to make it mutually acceptable to walk out, but they obviously didn't try to do that.
Right.
So.
Well, we'll see how that lawsuit shakes out. But the good news for the NHRA is they already have a new title sponsor. Camping World has come in to fill the void for them. Camping World's already got a big relationship with NASCAR, and now they're joining NHRA to double down on racing.
They know NHRA, between NASCAR and NHRA, those are people that go to those races and road racing too. They all they're RVers, people that have an RV or a camper, they're renting one or they own one or whatever. And that's a big part of going to some of these things. I mean, it's great to go to a track and have a RV there. And so, the funny part is Marcus Lemonis saw the deal going down about Coke, and he messaged NASCAR on Twitter saying, I might be interested, kind of thing. And that's what got the whole thing started off. It was it started on Twitter, basically. He saw the opening there, and I think, Coke's loss will be,
someone else's gain.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be their gain, and and Camping World will take full advantage of it. I think it'll be actually a good thing for NHRA. You get somebody who's actually excited about it to be in it and wants to really, make that program all work. And so yeah, I think it'll be good. It'll be good to have something different in there.
Yeah. Well, like you said, between the fans and the racers and teams alike, all these guys kind of.
I didn't know it was
they
that little
live
money.
what the Camping World brand is all about.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was a lot more money, honestly. I was like $5.8 million. I mean, that's less than what a one car. You can't run a NASCAR team for that. You can't even run one car in IndyCars. Well, probably close, But yeah, it's not a big budget really for that. So, and they get a lot of play out of it.
Absolutely.
Just think of that.
So Coke is out, Camping World's in.
Yep.
And that does it for this episode and us. We appreciate you guys tuning in to Intellectual Horsepower. We're going to leave you guys with a couple crazy racing moments that happened recently. The first one being Leah Pruitt's Top Fuel car crippling mid-race.
I never saw the actual replay. I saw the still photos of it. That looked pretty good.
The second one being Alexis DeJoria. Her funny car body blew off mid-race. And the third being Sean Baca of Industrial Injection, who was going for 3,000 horsepower on the
was that on the dyno?
The chassis dyno with his diesel truck, and the engine explodes in
little bitty pieces.
Fortunately, all three of them walked away safely. But again, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next time.